Gabby Thomas just pulled off one of the wildest 200-meter performances we've seen this year, and if you blinked, you might have missed it. The energy at the Grand Slam track event in Philadelphia was already electric, but the second Gabby stepped onto the track, it felt like the whole place leveled up. Fans knew they were about to witness something serious, and spoiler alert, they weren't wrong. What she did on that curve and down the home straight is already making headlines and shaking up the women's 200-meter rankings. Now, before we even get into the race itself, let's talk about how wild the atmosphere was. Philly fans are built different. They're loud, they're passionate, and yeah, they will absolutely boo you if you mess up, even if it's just setting your blocks wrong. It's not every day you hear booing in track and field, but that's exactly what happened when Thelma Davis in lane 2 had some trouble getting set. That's the kind of environment we're dealing with here. Intense, unforgiving, and fully dialed in. So if you're racing here, you better be locked in from the jump. And speaking of locked in, Gabby Thomas was all business. She came out to cheers, not boos. Everyone in the crowd knew who she was and what she was capable of. An Olympic medalist with serious experience in the 200, she's no stranger to the spotlight. But on this day, even for someone with her credentials, she had something to prove. Because lining up just a lane outside her was Melissa Jefferson, another US sprint star with her own hype and a reputation for killing it on the curve. So yeah, this wasn't just another heat, this was a showdown. Once the gun went off, you could instantly feel how aggressive this race was going to be. Gabby didn't get the cleanest start. She was a step behind right off the blocks, which in a 200-meter race, especially one stacked with talent, can be the difference between a win and a miss. Meanwhile, Dinah Asher-Smith, the former world champion from Great Britain, was flying on the bend. And then there was Jefferson, absolutely owning that curve like it was hers. She had a 2-meter lead coming into the straight and looked unstoppable. For a second, it really seemed like this was gonna be her race. But then Gabby turned it on. Halfway through that straight, something changed. It was like she flipped a switch. Gabby started gaining, one step at a time. Her form was tight, her arms were pumping, and you could see the determination in her face. She wasn't going to let this one slip. The crowd, which had already been hyped since the start, exploded as she closed that gap. You could hear the rising roar with every stride she took. Jefferson still had the lead, but Gabby was closing it with such power and speed. It felt like she was reeling her in on a string. In the final meters, it was neck and neck. Jefferson tried to hold on, but Gabby was flying. And then they crossed the line. Gabby clocked a 21.99. That's a sub 22 in wet conditions, under pressure, against a strong field. That's not just good, that's elite. And let's be clear, Gabby didn't even have the best start. She had to come from behind and dig deep to get there, which just makes the time and the win even more impressive. You could see the reaction on everyone's face at the finish. Shock, respect, disbelief, and maybe a little bit of, did that really just happen? Even the commentators couldn't help but point out the drama of it all. Melissa Jefferson looked visibly stunned. She's a beast on the curve and had the race in her hands until Gabby snatched it in the final stretch. And let's not forget, and then there was Gabby's face after the race. You could see it all, relief, satisfaction, and maybe even a bit of surprise. She knew that race wasn't easy, but she also knew she had pulled off something big, a sub 22 under pressure with a slow start. That's not just showing up, that's sending a message. And she didn't even need to say anything. The time said it all. What makes this even crazier is that this performance came at a time when the women's 200 is getting more competitive by the day. For Gabby to make a move like this and to do it so confidently against other US contenders could shake things up as we head deeper into the season. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. What Gabby Thomas just did isn't just a big win at a Grand Slam event. It could be the turning point of her entire season. The timing of this race matters. We're getting closer to the Olympic trials and the World Championships, and every meet from this point forward is a test, not just of speed, but of form, consistency, and mental strength. And what Gabby showed in this race, that she's not just in the conversation. She's a serious contender for gold. What really sets her apart is how she managed the pressure. This wasn't a soft race. It was loud, intense, and all eyes were on her. You've got Olympic level names on the line, fans screaming from the front row, cameras everywhere. Some athletes crumble under that spotlight. Gabby didn't just survive it, she used it. That crowd energy, that tension, all of it seemed to fuel her rather than slow her down. And that tells you a lot about where her mindset is right now. She's not just trying to compete, no, she's out there trying to dominate. And let's not ignore how much this win shakes things up for the rest of the field. For someone like Melissa Jefferson, this was a race she probably expected to win. She had the curve locked down. She came in confident, aggressive, and looked like she had the title wrapped up. But now, after Gabby surged ahead and stole it in the final meters, that's gonna mess with heads. Not just Melissa's, but the entire sprinting world's. Because if Gabby can win like that, from behind, under pressure, in front of thousands, who's to say what she's capable of when she nails the start? You could almost see it in the reactions after the race. The other runners looked tired, shocked, even a little thrown off. That's what makes this whole thing feel even more dangerous. She's not running with panic or desperation. She's running with confidence, like she's right where she's supposed to be. And that's a warning sign to everyone else. Because if she's still warming up, if this 21.99 is just a glimpse of what's to come, then the rest of the season just got a whole lot more interesting. And it's not just about this one win. Gabby has been building a steady momentum over the last couple of years. Injuries, setbacks, tough races. She's had to work through all of that, and every time, she's come back stronger. This race feels like a payoff, like everything she's been grinding through is finally coming together. And you know what's wild? She's still not at her peak yet. There's still room for improvement in her start, in her top-end speed, and even in how she handles that last 10 meters. But if she's already running sub 22 with all of that in mind, the ceiling is scary high. The announcers kept replaying that final stretch on the broadcast, and for good reason. It wasn't just a sprint, it was a masterclass in pacing and control. She didn't panic after the slow start. She didn't tighten up, she just trusted her training, built speed smoothly, and executed perfectly when it mattered. That's championship level racing. And when you compare that to how some of her competitors reacted, trying to hang on, losing form, burning out early, you start to see the separation. And we haven't even mentioned the weather. It was drizzling. The track wasn't perfect, but Gabby still ran one of her best races. Some athletes struggle when the conditions aren't ideal, but she didn't let it phase her one bit. That's the kind of detail that often gets overlooked, but it matters. Because come Tokyo or Paris, things might not be perfect either. Weather, nerves, delays, all of that plays a role. And Gabby just proved she's ready for all of it. Now, the sprint world has been buzzing with names this year. Julian Alfred, Sharika Jackson, Tamari Davis, all monsters on the track. But this win gives Gabby serious leverage heading into the heart of the season. It changes how her competitors see her, how fans see her, and maybe most importantly, how she sees herself. That kind of confidence boost at the right time can be everything. Because sprinting isn't just about raw speed. It's mental, it's emotional. And Gabby just sent the signal that she's locked in on every level. It's going to be wild watching what she does next. With more Grand Slam events ahead, national championships coming up, and the world watching every step, this might be the start of something big. If she keeps up this pace, this could be her season. The kind of year people talk about for a long time. The kind of season that cements your legacy.